Codex and Claude Code are very trending recently. And right now there's a huge debate on whether we should use GPT 5.5 or the Opus 4.7. So rather than debating which one to use, why not we should use both using a plugin called Codex Plugin instead of Claude Code. And with this plugin, we can use Codex from Claude Code to review code and delegate tasks to Codex so that we can use Codex here as a second pair of eye when using Claude Code. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel because in my next coming video, I'm going to make a full tutorial on how you can use Codex and the things that we're going to cover like the installations, the basic usage, all the way to like code management, cloud mode, memory, automations, skills, MCPs, all the way to computer automation. But in this video, we're going to take a look at how we can use Codex as a plugin instead of Claude Code to get the full benefits. So with that being said, if that sounds interesting, let's get into this. Now, before we continue, I recently launched our school community where I help you to master AI agents, automations, and so much more. And that's all coming from someone who used to work as a senior AI software engineer at companies like Amazon and Microsoft. And in this community, you're going to get over 100 plus video materials like templates and workflows that I personally built and sold over 100 plus times. On top of that, you're also going to get access to our weekly live calls. And just to give you an idea, this week, we're actually running a Claude Code masterclass where we're going to dive into how to improve Claude Code's accuracy when we're going to use it to building applications. Plus, you're also going to get full community supports where you're going to get a chance to ask questions and get direct answers back. So if you're ready to level up, make sure to jump right in and I'll see you in a community. All right, so to get started, first we're going to do here is to make sure to install Codex plugin for Claude Code. And simply to get started, what we're going to do here is to make sure to have the requirements down, like the GPT subscriptions and also Node.js 18. But first, let's try to have this installed on our local machine first. Now, of course, make sure to have Claude Code installed on your local machine. And if you haven't get started with Claude Code, make sure to check out this video right here, where I teach you exactly how to get started with Claude Code for absolute beginners. So then after that's done, all we have to do here is just going to add the Codex plugins into our marketplace first. So in this case, I'm going to copy this command and I'm going to head over to a new Claude Code session inside of a project. And all I have to do here is just going to paste that command that we just copied, and it's going to add this plugin into our marketplace for us to install. So once we have this fully added into our marketplace, the next thing we're going to do here is to install this plugin into our project. So in this case, I'm going to copy this command right here, head over to our Claude Code session and just going to paste it. And here you can see it's going to ask if I want to install this for my personal level, like per user level, or all the collaborators on this repository. So I'm just going to choose the second option right here. Then what we're going to do here is we're going to reload the plugins to make sure that this plugin here is reflected onto our current session. So you can see we have reflected that, and it's going to reload the plugins right here. And the next command we're going to run here is the Codex setup. This will basically set up our Codex here onto our local machine if we haven't done so, right? Ideally, you can just do npm install globally for the OpenAI Codex. But if you haven't installed that, you're just simply just going to do the Codex setup. It's automatically fine if you have that installed or not. And it's going to help us to prompt it and try to install this onto our local machine. So you can see here that right now it's going to look through our coding, our project here to see if we have this installed for Codex. And if it doesn't, you can see it's going to prompt me, hey, Codex is not installed. Should I install it now through npm? And I'm going to say, yes, let's install this on through npm here in our local machine. All right, so now after we have the Codex installed, the next thing I'm going to do here is to authenticate it. So simply you can see it gives you a command. It's simply just going to run this instead of our Claude Code session. It's going to authenticate ourselves by having a browser pop up. And then here you can see it's going to ask me to log into ChatGPT, and I'm just going to click on continue with Google here. Okay, so now you can see we have successfully logged in. And now as you can see that once we have logged in, it also has created a folder inside of our .claude folder for Codex. And we have our log, our memory, our temporary file, and most importantly, there's a configuration.toml file. And inside of this, it has specified the GPT, the model, and also the model reasoning efforts, how much we can also change the high, low, or medium. So we can change it here, right? So because I'm using the free tier, so I'm going to show you an example. And let's say if I want to use one of the command from the Codex for the adversarial-review, just want to make sure to test it, right? And you can see I have pointed out that I want to review on the base branch, which is currently where I'm at right now. And you don't have to specify that if you don't have to. So in this case, I'm going to point into one of the skills that I have, which can help me to open my browser and be able to navigate to Fiverr and reply to my message on my inbox. So I'm just going to say, hey, why don't you take a look at the skill and see how you can refine it? And I'm going to do it in a plan mode and see if it works. And then right away, you can see we can be able to either wait for the results or we can run this in the background. So in this case, I'm going to choose the first option here to wait for the results and see if it actually really works. Now, unfortunately, when I run this, it still says that 5.5 model here is not supported when using Codex with a GPT account, unfortunately, because I'm currently using the free tier. But I do remember that I have set this inside of our configuration.toml file. And what I did then is basically copy this conversation, pass it to a Claude Code session. And you can see here that it basically pointed out that we have to change it instead of our global for the configuration.toml file. And we basically set the model here that we're using is GPT 5.4, and the model reasoning effort here is going to be medium. And here, as you can see, we have that have already set. So now if I were to rerun the adversarial review, it should pick up using the right model. Now, speaking of the model here, you can see I'm using the GPT 5.4. And the reason is because 5.5 here is strictly reserved for Plus, Pro, and Team accounts, which let's say if you are not using the Pro version or the Team version or the Plus version, then using GPT 5.4 here is indeed the highest tier model that is available to you. But again, if you want to have some higher model here to run, compare with, side by side with Opus 4.7 or like Sonnet 4.7 here, then you definitely need to use something like the Pro version here that can help you to level up. I'm just going to use GPT 5.4 here just for demonstration here. So that's exactly what I did. And I basically just re-triggered a new Claude Code session, passing the same prompt and using the adversarial review for the codex. And here you can see we have what it finds. And the same thing, it just triggered a user question to see if you want to wait for the results or run in the background. I choose for wait for the results. And here is what the result looks like. So we have the Codex adversarial review for this particular skill. And essentially what I highlight here is that first of all, there's no account or the workspace verification before reading or sending candidate message. And the other one is batch reply flow. So there could be, we're using the same template over and over again, right? Let's say if we have, so you can see that the template that we're going to send to candidate is in line inside of our skill. So we definitely want to, let's say if we want to modify it, definitely don't want to modify the skill directly. We definitely want to modify a file, right? Maybe like a reference file or something like that. And that's what we recommend for the feedback for the skill. So you can see that this is the Codex adversarial review, 1, 2, 3. So 2 high and 1 medium. And then here you can see I have also run the same prompt using the model Opus 4.7. And you can see that this is what the result look like. So we have, hey, what it does well, you can see, and also top issues. So browser tools here is not defined. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 10. So you can see that there's actually a lot of feedbacks that have been catched. And there's also some overlay as well. For example, the template here is duplicate, like what we just saw from the GPT. So overall, you can see that we have a lot more feedback compared to the GPT 5.4. We're getting a lot more feedback for Opus 4.7. Now, obviously, at this point, you can see it's not really Apple compared to Apple because 5.4 here is a really older model. And you can see that it was released on March 5th, 2026. And the 4.7 here is released in April. So it's kind of like a 1 month in between, right? But obviously, if you are upgraded to the Pro member or the Plus member, definitely you can be able to use the GPT 5.5, which is the latest model that you have, right? But for this demonstration, I'm just going to give you an example and that's all, right? And that's exactly how it works. So after I have everything down, then I basically ask it to do a comparison between the two. So GPT 5.4 for findings, so accounts, workspace pre-flights, so I had it, no. So you can see that it has fly something that our current model here doesn't catch, right? So GPT-5 is right that I didn't think about the wrong tenants, sense, real risk in the reuse browser. There's also this one, which is also partially like what we already have, right? And then there's the applicant data. So this one, something that GPT has raised for the privacy and consent. I said the Telegram should be more default per the Claude MD file. Both true. So resolution here, you can see we have something to overlay, and we also have GPT 5.4 here catch something that Opus did not catch. So you can see that we can use kind of like those two models side by side together as kind of like the pair programming here to help us to, refine the code or make it much more accurate, to give it like an extra pair of eye in terms of decisions that we need to make inside of our project, right? So you can see, hey, well, I caught that GPT-5 miss, right? So you can see that's the things that we have caught, right? So it's not saying that which one is better or which one should we use over the other. It's really, hey, we can be able to use it side by side using the Codex plugins so that we can be building an application here much more accurate, that maybe there's certain limitation that each model has. And we can use this approach here to do this side by side and to catch bugs early. Okay, so you can see that that's exactly how it works. So it gives you a plan, hey, how to optimize Fiverr inbox scale, and here is how it works. So you can see it tells you exactly how we're going to develop this, how we're going to refine this a bit more, right? So I'm going to say, yes, let's do this. And you can see that's exactly how this works.
Before we jump into the next part, I want to quickly show you something I've been using while building some of my projects. So if you've ever used AI to generate code, you've probably noticed it works, but it also breaks in ways you don't always catch right away. That's basically where TestSprite comes in. It's an AI testing agent that goes through your app, figures out what it's supposed to do, and then checks if everything actually works the way it should. Now, what's changed recently is how it fits into your workflow. So I'm inside Cursor here, and through their MCP integration, it's not something I run separately. I can generate code, test it, fix things, and rerun everything right here in the IDE, which makes it feel way more natural when you're iterating. Where it gets really useful is when you start changing stuff. So let's say I update part of the logic. Instead of just running the same test again, it actually rechecks the flow and catches new issues that come from those changes. That's a big deal because most setups don't really handle that well once you start iterating. And if a test isn't quite right, you can actually edit it visually instead of digging through a bunch of test code. So I can click into a step, adjust what it's checking, or regenerate part of the flow, and keep everything else intact, which makes it a lot easier to control what's actually being tested. On top of that, they also added GitHub integration. So whenever you push changes, it runs tests on your pull request and shows you exactly what passed or failed before you merge anything. It basically acts like a safety check so you don't accidentally ship something broken. Also, quick mention, they're running a hackathon right now with a $3,000 prize pool. So if you're building anything or just experimenting with AI projects, it's actually a pretty fun way to try this out. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. Okay, now let's get back into the video.
Lastly, what I want to talk about is basically what are some skills, what are some commands that Codex come with that we can use. So the first one we have is the Codex review. And the review part is basically to try to review the uncommitted changes for logic and readability. And you can see here that we can specify the essential flags like, hey, what branch we want to do the review, and should we do this in the background, right? Off of the review here in the background so that we can keep the Claude working at the same time, right? So this is basically review. Let's say if you finish a code changes, Claude wrote, and here currently is uncommitted. You can just use this command here, right? Do the / command for the review for Codex. It will basically review the uncommitted changes to see if there's anything that we need to fix. And the second one we also have is the adversarial-review, which is a skill that we just ran. And it's basically going to do a high intensity security and edge case audit. See if there's any edge case or any securities that we need to focus on, right? You can also give it a prompt, hey, focusing on the SQL injections or focusing on this particular file or this particular component. You can specifically mention that, and it's going to do a complete audit review for this. And we also have a rescue. So let's say if Claude Code is struggling for fixing a bug, you can delegate this to Codex here to fix it. So it's going to delegate a code fix task or a task in general that Claude is struggling with to Codex, and Codex is going to apply that. And some of the flag that you can run, for example, like resume, apply the best fix from the previous one, or you can also specify the model, hey, like I want to use like GPT 5.5, or the effort here I want to use is high or medium, stuff like this, right? So you can do this. So just recap, we can review, we can be able to do the full audit for the edge case. We can also be able to fix things using Codex. So there's also the status. So let's say if you're doing this something in the background, right? Like I want to have Claude Code here running, but I also want to have Codex here to do the review. You can also using Codex here running in the background with the tag of the background tag. And after you run that, you can just do the Codex status to keep track of our status, right? And furthermore, there's also results. So after the entire background job is done, you can just pull the completed reports from the background job and it gives you the result, what it looks like. Furthermore, there's also cancel. If you're running a background job, you can also be able to do the Codex cancel to terminate the ongoing background jobs. So you can see that these are all the commands that we have for Codex that we can run to review, to do the full audit, to delegate task or bug fix to Codex. And there's also the status, the results, cancel, and so much more. So you can see that there's a lot of things you can do with Codex. And of course, we have already went over the Codex setup on how we can be able to set up Codex on your local machine. And as you can see, that's pretty much it for this video on how you can use Codex as kind of like your second pair of eyes inside of Claude Code. But of course, this is just a tip of iceberg for using Codex, right? We haven't never seen how to use Codex. I never done a tutorial on this before. So if you're interested to see me do a video tutorial, a full tutorial on how you can set up Codex, how you can use Codex, because for my next coming video, I'm planning on making a full tutorial on how you can use Codex. So if you're interested for this content, make sure to like this video, comment down below, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.